What's going on YouTube? Cloverwells here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to be going over the Lille regional results in its entirety. Another pretty big turnout here, just under 700 players, pretty much on par with what we've been getting recently, with Pittsburgh, Milwaukee, Frankfurt, and whatnot. Next weekend we've got Gdansk, right? So we're still sticking here in the EU region. But the buildup has begun for Las Vegas in November, right? And then I think there's Stuttgart after Las Vegas as well, right? So there's still things to play for in Regulation H and VGC, right? I know people are having a ton of time with Legends EA and whatnot, but at the end of the day, this is still something that people are still playing for, in terms of CP and whatnot. And the results here are going to be studied extensively, right? Because again, next weekend we do have that next regional in Gdansk, right? So it was kind of funny when I released our previous video, right, with Ribombee, because again, if you don't know already, it was Marco Fierro, aka Marco Silva, right? He came out on top with that Ribombee team that he was using. And when I saw the day one results, and I was looking at Marco's team, and then he wasn't the only one using that team, of course. I was looking at it, I was like, you know what, this team is actually really, really good, and Ribombee's in a pretty decent spot with where we are right now in the meta. We'll talk more about that, as we look at his team. But kind of a lot of the things that we said in our previous video was pretty true here with Marco's team, of course, with the Ribombee having, a faster speed tier than a Sneasel, right? And then at the same time, you have Shield Dust, which is basically a Covert Cloak, which means you get to have the Focus Sash item at the same time. And then you are a Fairy type, which is pretty good into Dragonite. So there's a lot of good things going for Ribombee here, right? So I respect the little B. It had a good run, of course, and now it can crown itself regional champion, right? So as always, what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the usage data and see some of the common sets on some of these metamons. We'll look at the top 12, of course, from day 1 and day 2, and then we'll start looking at cores and start looking at the teams and see if there's anything there that we can spotlight or really analyze, just to make some predictions heading into Gdansk. And of course, the foreshadowing has begun for Las Vegas. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's take a look at the data. All right, so we're going to take a look at the phase 1 results here, right? We used to call this day 1, but now we're calling it phase 1. But honestly, I'm not surprised with what I'm seeing on the screen here. A lot of this has not really changed since, September, right? You're going to get a lot of the Sneasel, Gholdengo stuff in the top 6. Then you've got Incineroar, Rillaboom, the Fake Out Boys. And then, of course, Gholdengo is really strong in this type of format. Again, you don't really care about Dire Claw or Close Combat from a Sneasel or, a lot of these other fighting types. Of course, you still have to worry about the Annihilate because it can outspeed you, right? And Ape is really good against, anti-Incineroar stuff. And it has multiple types of sets, right? Where, ranging from like Final Gambit all the way to, bulk up sets, right? Very versatile Pokemon. And then, of course, Dragonite here, just clicking its scale shots and missing its scale shots. And then the Tailwind, the occasional Extreme Speed, of course. And then Blood Moon or Ursaluna looking really strong there. Either the Life Orb set for offense, the AV set with the Priority Vacuum Wave, allowing it to hit Gholdengo is also really solid. And then, of course, the ever so annoying Terra Electric Yawn with Leftovers or the Citrus Berry kind of idea. So all 3 Blood Moon sets are very popular. It really just depends on what you want it to do on your team, right? Then, and the bottom half of the graphic here, this is usually the rain stuff, right? With Archaludon, Pelipper, and Basculegion here. Volcarona sneaking in there, right? Again, we're very high on the Grassy Seed Volcarona team running around. And we did get to see it quite a bit in this regional. So stay tuned for Gdansk, right? If you're going to Vegas, it's got to be on your radar. Quiver Dance, Volcarona, still very, very good. Excellent win condition right now. And of course, the rain stuff is always going to be solid, right? It has always been solid since day 1. Basculegion is just a great late game cleaner. Pelipper, Archaludon, also very, very good, with weather control. The stamina body press stuff is threatening. The +1 electro shots, and then the Draco Meteor Nuke, right? The stats are really good for Archaludon, and then the Assault Vest is not the only way to play it. Then you also have the Sturdy Power Herb set, so you get a Focus Sash on it, right? And then, of course, Ninetales. There's not really a whole lot of fairies in this format, right? Hence Ribombee coming out on top there, right? So besides like Primarina, the occasional Primarina, Ninetales having really good value by, overriding weather, and then, just providing speed control with Icy Wind. Encore Disable is annoying. And then, of course, the Blizzard spam, right? So Ninetales has a lot going for it. And then the Fairy typing in general is just really good against Scale Shot D9 because now you can't hit it at all, right? Hence the need for Dragonites to have another move besides the Scale Shot to be even able to hit the Ninetales, right? But yeah, the Basculegion set. So, again, you're either going with like this aggressive Choice Band set in the Rain, or the Choice Scarf adaptability set, and then the occasional Focus Sash adaptability as well. So this way you get a little bit of longevity against stuff like Rillaboom, Grassy Glide, or Wood Hammers, or Archaludon Electro Shots for that matter. Or even something like a Gholdengo or an Annihilate going for their ghost moves, right? The Sash has been relatively useful, right? So either set has been pretty good on the Basculegion, right? But then as we go into day 2, okay, honestly, look, you see how the top 6 hasn't really changed, right? In terms of placement, I don't think I've ever seen that before. Usually there's some kind of flip-flop, but in the top 6, the only thing that's changing is like the percentage numbers. But other than that, it's still pretty much the same, okay? Then you look at the bottom half there, Pelipper dropping off a little bit, but you still have Archaludon and Basculegion still looking pretty good. And then, Ursaluna, the regular form, sneaking in there over the Pelipper. But again, regular Ursaluna is also pretty solid on the Archaludon Rain teams, not just only on the Porygon 2 Balance teams, right? So ground typing and coverage, very good, right? Because again, you look at these mons, there's a lot of weakness to ground, right? Incin, Gholdengo, Sneasel, these are all weak to ground. Archaludon is also weak to ground here. So having ground coverage is quite important, right? Which is why some Ninetales have started to run Terra Blast, Terra Ground, so this way they have a way to hit these Gholdengos and these Incineroars running around. So yeah, honestly, I'm not surprised by any of this. At this point, I don't think you're going to get any really like huge meta shifts, right? With, just a little more than a half to go, a little more than a month to go within the meta. It's just how are you going to, play the mirror, right? What's going to give you that edge in the mirror matchup? And, can you make 1 or 2 changes to an already established archetype that can give you an edge? And maybe things that, your opponent hasn't really prepared for. Like a Ribombee, right? Besides the Ribombee, the other 5 are like pretty good, right? The Kommo-O is also pretty solid too. Like we got to see Kommo-O, from Riley in the previous regional on that Rain team. And now all of a sudden you got to see it here with that Ribombee team. So, these are 2 teams that, should be on your radar as you move forward into Gdansk as well as Las Vegas. But more on that when we actually look at the teams, which we're going to do right now. So let's go back into Lab Mouse. And let's take a look at these teams. Actually, even before we look at the teams, I want to look at, a lot of these top tier threats here. I just want to see what's pretty popular amongst their sets in terms of items and whatnot. So for here, looking at the Incineroar, actually, let me move this over a little bit, right? So this way you guys can see it better on your end of the screen here. So the goggles at 54%, still the most popular item on the Incin, to be expected, right? Then the AV and the Citrus Berry are close second and third there. So again, with the AV, you get a little bit more of special defense boost. It's going to be helpful against, the Blood Moon or Ursaluna and stuff. So I do understand in terms of that, right? The goggles, of course, helps you get around the Amoonguss in certain cases, right? It's pretty good there. Gholdengo here, Life Orb, right? 169 uses, right? So like 58%, still pretty good there. The Specs and the Grassy Seed are pretty close there, so but still the Life Orb Nasty Plot set seems to be the most popular one, right? And to be expected, right? Rillaboom here, Assault Vest, and not as clear-cut as you would think. You would think maybe this would be like 75% or whatever, but 68% is the idea here, and then followed by 23% Miracle Seeds. So a little bit more damage there, of course, by having the Miracle Seed, probably because that Assault Vest is being placed on either the Incin or the Blood Moon. So I do understand that. Now, speaking of Blood Moon here, the Life Orb item, look at this. It's almost like an even 30-30-30 split here, right? With the Life Orb at 35, the Leftover set at 32, and the AV set at 30% there, right? Look at Yawn's percentage, look at Vacuum Wave's percentage there, right? They're pretty synonymous with that as well there. So again, it really just depends on the type of team that you have, but all 3 types of Blood Moon or Ursalunas are looking really good right now. Sneasel here, just like in the previous regionals, right? Grassy Seed seems to have overtaken the Focus Sash here, 35% versus 28%. Again, the swords, it doesn't even have to be like Swords Dance, right? It could be without the Swords Dance, but again, you're just trying to activate Unburden, obviously. So, you know, that is expected to carry over even further. Dragonite here with the loaded dice, 92%, and, you know, the occasional choice band, but again, loaded dice is still the most popular item here on the D Knight. Archaludon here, you know, so again, 75%. So that means 3 out of 4 Archaludons are going to have the AV with the occasional Power Herb set. Usually they'll have Sturdy or whatnot. Sometimes the other the other ability that they might have, Stalwarts, right? But usually Sturdy is pretty popular. The Ape, okay, so 46 are still using Citrus Berry. Then the remaining are mostly using the Goggles, of course, to help you get around the Setamungus, of course. Then sometimes you'll run Leftovers, right? The bulk up sets. Okay, Basculegion. Yeah, again, this is expected as well. Pretty decent split between the Scarf and the Band. Obviously, the Scarf a little bit more than the Band because you're seeing a little bit more Basculegion outside of those rain teams, right? So they're going to run adaptability, right? And then that's going to be good with the Scarf. So this way you get the speed and the attack boost, right? Rather than just Choice Band, which is more used on those rain teams, right? Because they have Swift Swim. Pelipper, Sash, Scarf, Cloak, yeah, that's to be expected as well. Volcarona, okay, here we go. So Volcarona, Covert Cloak, 47% with, again, a pretty decent chunk with the Grassy Seed and Leftover set. So again, Cloak is really good. Whether you're the support set or the Quiver Dance set, you don't want to be taking Snarls or whatnot, right? Or even like those, the Parting Shots and whatever. So, but yeah, of course, the Grassy Seed, the defense boost. Again, you're going to get special defense boost anyway with the Quiver Dance. So again, the selling point with the Grassy Seed means now you're bulky on the physical end. So this way you become hard to break. And look at this percentage here with the support set, right? Rage Powder, Struggle Bug, Tailwind, Giga Drain. So again, it's not just all about the Quiver Dance set. You're still going to get some support Volcaronas on your team, which is, again, like pretty good overall there. King Gambit here. Black Glass is still a little bit more than the AV there, of course. You know, either one is looking pretty good. Tyranitar obviously still prefers that Assault Vest set. And then what else are we looking at? That's pretty much it, honestly. Everything else, you know, outside of the top 30 you'd expect. But I just wanted to see, like, mostly of these Metamons here, just to see what else they could be running here. And this is what you're going to have to do, right? When you really want to look into the data, you kind of have to see their sets and see, you know, what's pretty popular with them right now. See, it's either just a Cloak or a Sash on the Whimsicott, of course, right? But yeah, now let's look at the teams, and now let's see actually some of these sets on those squads. All right, so let's take a look at our top 8 here. So, of course, Marco Silva's team coming out on top with that first place. And there's the Ribombee with the Tailwind, Fake Tears, and Moonblast. Again, we explained the selling point with the Ribombee earlier with the Shieldless and the Sash. Really good. Again, being faster than Sneasel, just, you know, right from the get-go helps a lot. Gholdengo Incin, pretty expected. Now, look at the Incineroar there. Covert Cloak Incin, that's probably pretty useful against, like, other Incineroars, you know, just with that, the fake out shenanigans, just in case there's, like, a potential speed tie there. So, I could understand the Covert Cloak there. Then the Kommo-O Throat Spray set. So, again, with Clanging Scales, Aura, Spear, and Flamethrower. So, again, notice there's no Clangor's Soul. And that may move forward here with that kind of set. You know, we'll have to wait and see. But again, there's so much value with both Aura Sphere and Flamethrower, right? Because again, you get good fire coverage against steel types like a Gholdengo, for example. And then Overcoat just means, you know, immunity to like Spore shenanigans from Amoonguss, the sand stuff, right? And then special attacking fighting moves also pretty solid too. You know, against either like the Incineroar or like the other Ursalunas, where they don't have as much special defense as they do physical defense, right? Especially even Archaludon. So the special fighting coverage helps a lot. And then AV Blood Moon here with Priority Vacuum Wave is pretty good. And then pretty standard D-Knight there with Scale Shot, Tailwind, and Extreme Speed Terra Steel. So again, secondary move there. You don't need Haze here. Okay, you got Ribombee on your side. Then over here, look at Edu right here coming in second here with that Smeargle. Look at that, the return of Smeargle. Spore, Follow Me, Fake Out, of course, right? Then you've got Tailwind, of course, which a lot of people forget. Smeargle does get Tailwind. So funny enough, it does get Tailwind. Usually you'll find like a wide guard set, you know, in a restricted format, but here Edu says, nah, let's go for tailwind here. It's a Grassy Seed Sneasler with Swords Dance, right? So that means you got good support here with Instant and Rillaboom, but look at the Ursaluna there with the Calm Mind. So you got 2 win conditions here. Actually 3, because you got Gdansk here with Nasty Plot. So think about it. You got triple Fake Out, you got Redirection, okay? You know, with the Follow Me. So you could either enable the Blood Moon, enable the Sneasler, or enable the Gdansk depending on the matchup. This is pretty cool. I'll expect to see more of this as we head into Vegas, but first Gdansk. So we'll keep our eyes peeled next weekend. Then over here from Giuseppe here at 3rd place, this is pretty pretty standard here at this point. Yawn Ursaluna, Life Orb, Nasty Plot, Gdansk, Grassy Seed Sneasler, right? Couple of win cons here. Then you got the support, and then there's Dragonite there with Tailwind and Haze, of course. Look at this. How about Dondozo? You know, yeah, I've been saying this for a minute. You know, there's Dondozo still looking pretty decent in this kind of meta. Yes, you do have Haze D-Knight, but you know, you've got Order Up into that Dragonite. You're gonna have to force it to go into Terra Fairy, and then at that point you're vulnerable to the water attack, right? So yeah, I do still see the idea behind Dondozo Tatsugiri. And then look at the Annihilate here with the Find. Also, it's not coaching, funny enough, but you do have the Weavile. And again, another selling point with Weavile is, you know, it's faster than a Sneasler, and you do get Fake Out, right? And you do get Beat Up, which means you have ideas with the Annihilate here. And then look at this, you've got the Rain idea with Archaludon too. So we've seen this before with Pelipper, Archaludon, and Weavile, and Annihilate, right? Where you can beat up into either slot and proc either all this stamina boost or even all these Rage Fist ideas with the Annihilate. So this is a pretty cool team, and I would expect to see not only this Dondozo variant, but there's another one here, and that one's in 10th place, which we'll preview at another timestamp in the video. But this one here, this is the Covert Cloak Volcarona instead of the Grassy Seed set, right? Otherwise, it's the same Pokemon there mostly. And again, it really just depends on what do you value. Do you want the Cloak or do you want the defense from the Grassy Seed? Either way, the 6 is still going to work. Then down here with number 6 at a Mince team over here, this is the Mousehold Annihilate stuff, right? With the Sash Mousehold, then you've got Gdansk, Ninetales, Rillaboom, Blood Moon. We've seen this before already. And again, it's just another variant of Mouseape that's still looking pretty good here. How about Sand getting a top 8 result here? How about from Ryan here with the Garchomp Tyranitar idea again? But you know, instead of Excadrill, right, we're going with the Dragon typing and Garchomp, and then we'll use our Steel typing with Gdansk instead. So this way we still have the backbone with Instant Amoonguss and the Tailwind support coming from Kilowattrel. And then this is a Sash Kilowattrel where you have Air Slash and T-Bolts, of course. And then Gdansk definitely appreciates either one. And, you know, it's hard to lead Instant into like a Kilowattrel Gdansk lead, right? Because, again, Gdansk can't get faked out. Kilowattrel is going to get a competitive boost, which you definitely don't want to give it, right? It's going to start hitting very, very hard. So I understand this. And then, of course, you still have Tailwind Earthquake stuff. And then AV T-Tar is still looking pretty good in the meta right now. Then right here in 8th place to round it out, this looks like almost a different variant of that Wolf team that he brought to Baltimore back in 2024. That one had a Corviknight on it, but instead we're going to rely on Incineroar here. You know, another fire type to go along with the Choice Scarf Typhlosion. You still have the Toad School shenanigans here, and then we're adding Garchomp here. So yeah, you know, Kilowattrel with the Sash Discharge stuff. You can do that next to Toad School too. And then of course you have the Spore Acid Spray shenanigans. And then Typhlosion with Choice Scarf kind of just cleans up once you've got rid of some of the team's win conditions, right? So, and then of course you still have to worry about neutralizing Gas Wheezing. You know, a lot of teams like their abilities. You love Intimidate, you love your Weather, you know, you love your Unburden Boost. Wheezing just says no. You love your Prankster, Wheezing just says no here. And then with the Choice Specs, you're able to put out a decent amount of pressure here. So this is a pretty cool rendition of that team from 2024. Now this is like a more modern way. So we'll have to wait and see if this gets a little bit more play as we head into Gdansk next weekend. But all in all, pretty decent balance, right? You got the Sneasler balance teams looking pretty good here. Then you've got the the lone Dondozo team here in 4th place. You got some sand stuff here. And, you know, after that, let's see how well the other weathers do. But there's some pretty cool Pokemon, niche-wise, that got some really, really good Day 2 results. And we're going to spotlight them as well. But very interesting top 8, I'm not going to lie. Right, you got 2 Kilowattrels, right? 2 types of sand teams. I'm sorry, not 2 types of sand teams. But 2 types of Kilowattrel Garchomp teams within the top 8 there. So that's pretty cool to see. All right. But now let's preview the other archetypes and let's see how they did overall besides the top 8, right? Because we want to see the regional as a whole, not just what got like top 8. All right, so let's look at some Archaludon Rain team ideas here. So a lot of this stuff actually has already been said and done, you know, because again, this is like the second go around of Regulation H. We're coming up on the final month here. So nothing here, honestly, is totally new, except for maybe the Kommo-O variant that we saw from Riley in the previous regional here. So Federico, of course, he's running the Sinistcha Ursaluna variant. So now you have a Trick Room idea, you know, along with the Tailwind support here. Actually, this isn't even Tailwind on this Pelipper there. So there's that. But at the very least, you have the Ursaluna that can give you an alternate mode of the team, right? So you still have the rain mode with Archaludon, Basculegion, and Pelipper. And then you have the instant Sinistcha and Ursaluna that can come into the game as well. That can provide the more or less the Trick Room slower idea of the squad here, right? So this is another way that has been done already. And now if you look at this one here, this one is almost the same idea from Davide. Again, same idea with Sinistcha and Ursaluna, but this time we do have Tailwind on the Pelipper. And this Gholdengo is the Scarf variant. I believe this is the Arizabeth build. But again, Terra fighting Archaludon, you know, with Body Press and Snarl. This is ideally a bold variant Archaludon. They could have been modest, you never know, but at the very least, if I recall, these type of Archaludons were in fact the bold variant. And the whole idea with bold is you can take a close combat from an Adamant Sneasler, or at least require less EV investment. I think Federico was also fighting. Yeah, he was also fighting. So the other thing is that now that you're including Snarl, you are giving up the dragon move here, right? So for Davide, he's also doing the same thing. Again, giving up the dragon move there in the exchange for Snarl for a little bit more damage mitigation, which again is fine, because again, you're relying more on the body press damage more so than the stab Draco damage, and then at the same time, you're still getting special attack boost from Electro Shot anyway. Then I'm gonna skip over Louis' team in a second here. I want to scroll down to like some of these other variants. Then you have Thomas Schultz here over here. So now this is the Among Us idea, but again, no Incin on this. So this is one mon slightly different than the standard Archaludon Rain, the basic vanilla variant with Incin, Among Us, and Gholdengo here. Instead, we're including Dragonite. Again, with Dragonite, you're getting a little bit more aggression. And now over here, look at this Archaludon. This is Terra Bug. Again, foregoing the dragon move, but instead opting for Snarl here. Again, a lot more damage mitigation from all these Archaludons now. And you still have the win condition of using the Life Orb Gholdengo, as well as the end game with the Basculegion with Mystic Water, might I add. It's not a Choice Scarf idea, but instead Mystic Water. So you still get damage, but still have the ability to click Protect, and you can still use other moves at the same time too, right? Then from Jonathan Martin, so now this is again the Riley idea that we saw previously, but take a look at this. Clanging Scales, Flamethrower, and Clangorous Soul. Again, Terrifier is also really solid. That's going to be really helpful against the AV Rillabooms. Maybe not so much in the rain, but at the very least, you're still going to get a little bit more boosted damage. And again, you're able to resist the fairy type damage and also give yourself neutral damage to the flying weakness at the same time. Soundproof is pretty cool. Usually you'll see some stuff like Overcoat and whatnot. I think all of Kommo-O's abilities are actually really solid. This one does keep the Draco Meteor damage, so that's good. How about this Basculegion? We got Phantom Force on this one. This is the other selling point, or the interesting check here on the Basculegion there. You got Phantom Force and Last Respect, so 2 ghost moves here, right? And then you still have Wave Crash and Flip Turn. Okay. So no Aqua Jet, right? Because again, sometimes, Aqua Jet is a little bit awkward, right? You already have the Scarf, right? So, it's just better to click some other move there besides Aqua Jet, but sometimes it does come in handy, because you can create a pin. But this is also Tailwind Pelipper, this is Covert Cloak of Mungus, right, with Clear Smog. So that's expected there. All right, and then as we look at more further options, again, it's just all this Sinistcha, Ursaluna stuff there. But, you know, Archaludon teams are not going away. They haven't gone away for a while now. They're super good. Look how many day 2s there are from these Archaludon Rain teams, right? So it goes without saying, right? And then even this one here, I'm just going to pick this one. Actually, there's one over here. This is the same thing, right? So Patrick Quanti's going with the Whimsicott variant. This is the Fake Tears idea with the Sash Basque Legion. We saw this at Monterey, right? And then here's, again, the Scarf Pelipper with Icy Wind support. Terra Fighting, Terra Blast Gholdengo, yes. So this is another variant that is also running around. I think the main one, the most interesting one over here is from Jacob Markets. Look at this. First of all, we've got Kingdra over here with Life Orb support. Then we got Comfey here. It's not even like Trick Room. Look at this. You've got Flora Healing, yes. You've got Draining Kiss, yes. That's going to be very useful against Dragonite, by the way, because again, you can have a priority fairy move to break that multi-scale off of it. Then you even have Light Screen over here. So that's interesting. And then Safety Goggles here on the Comfey. Life Orb Kingdra. Weather Ball, Surf Draco Meteor. Very interesting idea. And of course, you know, you have Wheezing here with Neutralizing Gas, taking away abilities. So, sounds interesting, right? Because again, you're taking away your own rain more or less, but you know, it's still very useful against like other weather setters, other abilities that a lot of Pokemon like. And then of course it's Toadscruel over here. We've seen it before already. Now we're seeing it again with Bullet Seed, right, into the Archaludon. So that is an interesting development there. So maybe we might even see this at Gdansk and also maybe even Vegas. So, you know, it remains to be seen, but very interesting idea there. But all in all, a lot of these haven't really changed, right? Again, it's just mostly that Sinistcha Ursaluna variant with, again, here's the Dondozo idea. I will take a look at Louis Fontevelli. I don't know if I said his last name correctly. I apologize. But this one is a non-Pelipper variant, right? You just have straight Archaludon here. Stamina. And again, no Electroshot, right? So that's probably the reason why they can still run this, because again, no Electroshot. But you still have Grimmsnarl, Screens. You got Choice Specs, Trick, Power Gem, Gholdengo. Again, this is very strong against Incineroar. Support Volcarona, Life Orb, Blood Moon, right? And then also Tailwind D-Knight. So we have 2 Tailwinds here. But again, the Rage Powder is also really nice, you know, just trying to enable the Gholdengo here. But this is almost like balance, right? It's not even weather here, but you've got Screens Balance, okay, with support Volcarona, which is actually a really, really cool team when you think about it. So yeah, anyway, so no real like quote-unquote significant development here, but it's clear that the Ursaluna variants for Archaludon Rain are looking really good here, and they did look good in this regional. For Tyranitar Sand teams, I think they had a much better regional over here than they did at Milwaukee here. So let's take a look at these squads. Besides over here, you had 7th place there from Ryan. Elizabeth Sturm here, look at this one. Again, the Kommo-O there with the Kilowattrel, Instant Amoonguss, Excadrill stuff. Again, that's the same GIF that we have at the bottom of our screen with R6. So they opted to go with the Specs Kilowattrel idea as opposed to the Sash, because again, the Sash is on the Excadrill here. And it is in fact the Discharge Kilowattrel here, which again is strong, right? Again, you can, you know, lead Excadrill, Kilowattrel, and then just start spamming Earthquake, Discharge, and whatnot, and then you still get that solid defensive backbone with the Incineroar and the Amoonguss. Now, note here with this combo, it is the IDBP set with Iron Defense, Body Press, and Throat Chop. It's going to be good against Gholdengo, because otherwise you can't hit a Gholdengo, right? So this combo set, you know, you'll still see this every now and then. But how about Kommo, like all of a sudden rising towards the end of the format here, because it's a good mon. All right, after that, how about Gastrodon over here from William Basolino? Look at this. You haven't seen something like this in a while. But you do have, it looks like it's just Sneasel Poke Balance with just Weather with Tyranitar instead of Ninetales. And then you have a Gastrodon here. Ooh, look at this. You got Whirlpool and Yawn Gastrodon. Oh, this is pretty cool. I guess this is like another way of using like the Yawn trapping stuff here. So again, with Whirlpool, right? I'm sorry, like the Yawn Magma Storm idea, you know, with something like Heatran in the past. But here's the idea. You can use Whirlpool. They're trapped. Then you click Yawn, and then, of course, they can't switch out, so they're forced to go to sleep and still take the chip damage, right? So that's pretty interesting. All right, and it's about time that Gashadon had some kind of like notable placement in the region. It's been a hot min here. This is White Herb Sneasel there. Everything else is honestly pretty standard here. Volcarona is a nice win condition here. Shout outs to William for making Gashadon work. Kudos to them. Then you have the Corviknight sand stuff here with the Mungus, and again, this is usually something like Instant, but we have Volcarona instead. So again, another special attacking win condition here. This is a pretty cool sand team too, right? So you got Corviknight with Tailwind support. All right, Brave Bird, Bulk Up, Body Press. So, you know, flying coverage and fighting coverage is actually really useful in this meta right now. Hits like everything in the top 12 more or less, right? Then Life Orb, Chomp, Tyranitar here. Again, not really bothered by Intimidate more or less. You do have the Corviknight with Mirror Armor. And then the Wincon here with the Volk. It's leftovers. Giga Drain, Terra Grass, by the way. It's not Terra Blast. Yeah, so I like that idea. Then look at this one. This is just Mouse Ape with T-Tar. Again, a little bit. This is actually just a Mousehold Annihilate team with support Volk yet again. Look at this: Overheat, Struggle Bug, Rage Powder, Tailwind. Again, mitigation, redirection, and speed control. Volcarona having 3 types of roles in one. Such a good mod in Regulation H, honestly. Yeah, and then this is just Sash Mousehold here with Annihilate. Pretty expected there. Then you got this stuff, right? We've seen this already. With the Annihilate and the Corviknight and the Sneasel Indeedee stuff. This is one of the cores from like late September or mid-September technically, right? So that isn't new. We've seen something like that before. And then how about this the Hydreigon variant, right? So what's really cool here is we've featured something similar like this, right? With the Hydreigon Sand stuff. But they changed the set a little bit. Look at this. It's Covert Cloak Hydreigon with Roar, and you do get Snarl and Tailwind here, so that's nice, right? No Corviknight on this one, but not necessarily needed because you still have the Annihilate here. I do like the Hydreigon edition over the Corviknight in this type of case, because again, you get another special attacker on your side. You still get the Earthquake synergy, right? Because again, you do have Levitate. You have a little bit better of a size spam matchup yourself, right? Because again, you have T-Tar and Hydreigon. And War is kind of funny, right? Where you can just force out, you know, switches there. You can even roar yourself if you have to. So I like that idea. This is also on Acrobatic Sneasler with Psychic Seeds. No Swords Dance here. Of course, you're trying to be a little bit more offensive. But that's another set that people may explore a little bit more later, right? Because we've seen this already with Grassy Seed. Why not Psychic Seeds, right? You're still activating on Burden Boost too. So that's also pretty cool there. And then this one is really using like some older ideas with, you know, Murkrow, Garchomp, and Gholdengo here, right? We've seen that core since like Regulation A. Now you add Tyranitar to it. And then these last 2 slots are like more updated stuff. So now you can just add Mousehold and Annihilate here. And it works too. So I like it. I like it. A lot of these sand teams are actually pretty cool. Like you can see the adjustments that some of these teams are making, right? Where you're just adding a Gastrodon here, or you're changing the set of Volcarona, you're removing Corviknight, adding Annihilate instead, and even this one, right? Oh yeah, wait. Even though, hold on, I want to see this team. Wait a second. So this is also Mouse Ape here. This is Whims. Oh, this is Endeavor. I was like, are we really going for fake? We're not going for fake tiers, right? So this is Sash fake tiers. I'm sorry, Sash Endeavor shenanigans. That is, oh, and this is Leftovers Gholdengo. You usually don't see this. That's Julio over there. Anything else even from the 5-3 noteworthy teams? This is pretty interesting. How about the Lycanroc here instead of Excadrill here? So you still got Annihilate, Indeedee, no Sneasler, by the way. You do have a Power of Archaludon, and then you have Sinistcha over here. This looks like some core of Annihilate here, right? You have Psychics. We have Psychic Seeds and Annihilate. I guess that can help against Blood Moon, Gholdengo, and Size Spam stuff, I would imagine. This is a Guavberry Tyranitar here. Interesting squad from Jeffrey there. Got some Dragapult stuff down there, and the Dusclops idea is still running around here. So yeah, all in all, like Sand had a pretty good showcase here in this regional. So let's see what happens next weekend. You know, just when you think you're done with it with the meta, there's still like Dondozo teams running around. So again, we already previewed Jay's team here, but look at some of the other Dondozo Tatsugiri teams. Let's look at 10th place here from Marcus Co. Again, it's just very aggressive, right? With Tailwind, Talonflame, Life Orb, Blood Moon, Ursaluna, probably Modest, and then Expanding Force, helping out there. This is actually an older team. I've seen this from like September and technically late August here. So yes, you can do this. I'm surprised people are still using this, but here we are. We're still using it. Victor Cole, is this the same team? It just might be. And it is. So 2 of the same teams here from 10th and 19th place over here. This one is just a solo Dozo here. How about this one? This one with Glamour and Typhlosion. Is this Scarf Typhlosion? It has to be, right? Otherwise... Oh, it's Scarf Tatsugiri. Wow. Okay, normally, you know, the Typhlosion would love the Tailwind support. But you don't have it here. Instead, well, I guess you have the Scarf Tatsugiri with Icy Wind, but still. Okay, yeah, I guess I can see that. And then Glamour, just again... Toxic Debris, chip damage over time. Wave Crash, Order of Earthquake, Dondozo. Pretty self-explanatory there. So, that's Ibrahim. So, yeah, shout outs to them. That was pretty cool. This is more back to Scalper Balance. Then, oh, yeah, this one. This is another cool one. This one had the Scizor. Look at this. Choice Band Scizor with Bullet Punch here. But Dondozo Giri. Heavy Slam on the Dondozo, by the way. Terra Steel, Heavy Slam. AV Gambit with Terra Flying, Terra Blast, and then standard D-Knight set, Safety Goggles Ape here with coaching. Yeah, so I like these. I like this idea, right? With Annihilate, Dragonite, Dondozo, Tatsugiri, right? You can go for coaching, and you could either coach your Dragonite, or you could even coach your Dondozo turn 1, like with Coaching Protect, and then pivot out into Tatsugiri, and now all of a sudden you're +3, right? So that's also something that's pretty interesting. And then you can still pressure with even something like Scizor here with the Choice Band. I'm surprised to see Scizor on this, by the way. I can't imagine what was the reason behind it here. I don't know how many times they brought the Scizor, but here we are. We have a Scizor. All right, so that was pretty interesting there. But I do like Annihilate, D-Knight, Tatsugiri, Dondozo teams. I think that's like one of the more fun ways to run it, in my opinion. And then after that, you can just run the side spam stuff. So look at Roberto's team here, right? Is this going to be that idea? Yes, it is. Look at this. Coaching here into Dondozo, and then just slap on Indeedee Sneasel, right? Very easy Dondozo type of team to play. If you had to play Dondozo, this is the one that I would recommend, right? Something like this, because I like coaching Annihilate there. And then again, you still have Final Gambit, right? So don't forget, you can Final Gambit something, KO it, then you get the free switch into Tatsugiri. So all of a sudden, you're kind of cooking here, right? This isn't even Scarf, this is just Goggles here. So yeah, I understand it. What else are we looking at here? This one is another Typhlosion variant. This is also Specs, and then again, also still Indeedee Sneasel stuff here with Expanding Force, Unburdened. This is Goggles, Tatsugiri. Terra Ice Dondozo, very interesting. What is this? Why Terra Ice? Okay, I've seen Steel, I've seen Grass, and here we have Ice. Very... I can't imagine why. Is that like freeze dry protection? I mean, is that really important there? I don't know. But yeah, all in all, pretty, you know, it's just something that you have to watch out for. So don't stop not preparing for Dondozo. Again, because just when you least expect it, just when you think they're out of the meta, they're right back in it, and they're here getting day 2 results. So with the Torkoal Sun teams, there's 2 main ideas that you could do with this, right? So you could go with the Jump Bluff stuff, or you can look into the Heart Trick Room idea. And with the Heart Trick Room, I'm kind of looking for more or less a repeat performance from that Clear Amulet Instant idea along with the Throat Spray Photograph here. And we do see that, but there is also another team that also catches my eye. But let's take a look at some of these day 2ers, right? First of all, Sebastian, right? This is pretty much, again, look at this. Zard, Torkoal, Jump Left, Instant, Ursaluna PT, right? We've seen this already multiple times, even since last year, of course, so no surprise that it's still good even right now. I believe this is more or less the same team. Let me just click just to be sure, and it is, right? Then you look at this one right here. Alessandro is using Daxpun, okay? We've got King Gambit, Torkoal, Typhlosion, okay? Then we've got Torkoal Jump Up, but look at the Torkoal here, right? It's going for Lava Plume, which is going into the Daxpun, and with Well Baked, now all of a sudden you're going to get that nice solid defense boost, and then you're going to have Body Press. And the fact that you're a fairy type that you could do this is actually rather interesting, because there's no real other mons that can really do this. But, you know, Dragonite can't hit this all that well. And, you know, that means, you know, free body presses everywhere else, right? Fighting coverage is good. Snarl is also really nice into Gholdengo. Now, again, you do have to watch out for Make It Rain shenanigans, But, you know, this is why you have Terra Steel, of course. And then, of course, you got the Yawn sent on the Torkoal, which, again, can force out switches. And then you still have the aggressive Tailwind from Jumpluff, along with Eruption, Typhlosion, Sunny Day, Sleep Powder, Shenanigans, Life Orb, Rillaboom there is coming in. So quite an interesting squad there, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw this next weekend as well. Then we got exactly as I was saying, the Throat Spray, Fergraph, and the Clear Amulet Instant stuff, right? And there's a few of these. Costa, Dynamos here again, Pokemon Caster, of course, right? Look at this. Yep, there it is. And then there's the Hisuian Lilligant again with the Focus Sash idea. It's clear, and this is Torkoal with no Protect, right? Eruption, Weather Ball, Clear Smog, Earth Power, Psychic Seeds, Terra Grass. Again, no goggles here, so you need the grass, and then Clear Amulet Instant. You know, just to make sure you actually get to exert some offense, right? So pretty cool. Then look at this one. We've got Dragapult here, right? So what you could easily do is just, you know, Trick Room U-turn into your Pokemon here. So that works, right? And then you have the Blood Moon Ursaluna over here, which combos over with the Fergraph. It's AV, Blood Moon, Life Orb, Volcarona, by the way. You don't see this all that often, but you know, Quiver Dance with Life Orb is interesting. And then look, again, no Protect. We're just going for like straight Rage Powder stuff. So quite the interesting tech to add into the Hard Trick Room idea. Then you got this stuff here, which is, again, super aggressive with Sunny Day, Tailwind, Whimsicott with Typhlosion, then Ursaluna, Sneasler, right? And then it's not the male Indeedee, it's the female Indeedee, you know, which is Follow Me Trick Room stuff, again, which plays into the Torkoal here. So you got Eruption, and you still have Helping Hand Yawn support on this Torkoal. So you got both ways, right? You could go fast or you could go slow, and the Torkoal can fit either kind of idea, right? Then more of the Throat Spray, Fergraph stuff, along with the Clear Amulet Instant. Is that what it looks like? Yes, it is. And then over here, this one is like the older Joe UX9 team with the Garchomp, Gambit, Dragonite, Typhlosion stuff here. So double Dragon Core with AV Gambit, and then the Jumpluff here with Terra Electric. Burning Jealousy, good tech, right? With all setups running around right now, you know, with Swords Dance and whatnot from the Sneaslers and the Nasty Plots, you know. Oh, Burning Jealousy is just a very meaningful tech to have here. So yeah, all in all, a couple of cool Sun teams, of course, but you still have the Jumpluff Sun stuff running around with good reason, right? All right, look at all these Ninetales teams. Look how good Ninetales is in day 2 in Reg H right now, and it's all about the balance stuff, right? So you know what you're getting from 5 and 6, right? With Javier and Amin's team here. So now as you scroll down, now we'll just see like more or less some different variations of that. So here we go, right? With D-Knight, Annihilate, and Goldangle. So double Ghost idea. And then this is Aurora Veil and an Icicle Spear into the Annihilate, right? So we've seen something like this before. And then it's Miracle Seed Rillaboom. That's because the AV is on the Blood Moon Ursaluna. So then with the Aurora Veil and Fake Out Pressure, you can give yourself the space to try and set up these nasty plots, as well as the bulk up idea, right? And then you still have Recovery here with the Grassy Terrain. So we've seen something like that for a while now. Then over here, this looks like the first team, right? Where you have the Yawn, Blood Moon Ursaluna, the Scarf, Adaptability, Basculegion, the Grassy Seed, Volcarona, right? And then the Fake Out Boys with the Rillaboom and Instant, and then you have the Aurora Veil Ninetales. This is one of our favorite teams to use right now, of course. When we built that team, a lot of our viewers have been able to take that and get top cut results at limitless tournaments and also win them. So if you want to use it yourself, access the video and click the Pokepaste there, and then you can have one that we made, right? Then as you keep scrolling down here, then you'll just see like some Sneasler variations, but then some other interesting choices, right? So this one, of course, this is one of the main squads to beat. This is the Grassy Seed, Acrobatic Swords Dance Sneasler with the Yawn, Blood Moon, and then the Terra Blast, Ninetales here. There's so many variations of this 6 running around right now, so you have to be careful and pay attention to your team sheet because even though they might be running the same 6 as you, sometimes it's not the same 6. We saw it in Victory Road, but there was like 6 or 7 different variations of that 6 over there, right? And then of course you have Emmanuel here. Look at this. We've got he's actually made a change here. We got Flamigo here, right, with Scrappy, of course, really good against Incineroar. Then you got Dual Wing Beat to help you get around Sash Sneasler, Wide Guard support. All right, then you've got Chomp with Earthquake here, Mirror Herb Instant, which we like a lot, of course. Scarf Ninetales, very interesting. Okay, and that means you get to have freeze dry, right? And then Covert Cloak Goldengo, right? So people are sick of the Archaludon Snarls, right? So now we're just adding Covert Cloak Goldengo, so this way I don't lose my damage boost, right? And then Among Us here for that backbone support. So yeah, then you have more like traditional stuff with the old school idea with Magmar, King Gambit. Then you have Basculegion, Ribombee, Ninetales. So this is like one of the older Sneasler balance ideas that you can run, but it's still good even right now, right? Then down here, more or less the same stuff. Then this one here has the Primarina edition. So you got Primarina, Instant Rillaboom for your Fire Water Grass. This is Swords Dance Sneasler, Blood Moon Ursaluna with Yawn. And again, we've used something like this before, right? Where we just built something with Primarina. We said don't sleep on it. It's still very, very solid. And here, yet again, you get to see prime proof that Primarina is still, in fact, very good. Then you have haste support here. Of course, it's quite good if you're able to get it in position. It's great against Dondozo stuff too, if you're having problems with that as well. Is this going to be coaching? Yes, it is. It is coaching Sneasler. I just saw like Sneasler D-Knight here, and then I knew it probably had to be. All right, Instant Rillaboom, Calm Mind, Blood Moon. Yeah, so there has to be like some win condition, right? Some kind of setup. So you could definitely play this idea, right? So you could play Calm Mind, Blood Moon, right? And then just put the AV back on the Rillaboom. So this all of a sudden becomes the main sweeper here. And then you have the Roarveil support, right? With Blizzard, Icy Wind, and Encore. So again, great Ninetales set here. And then, you know, with coaching, you can also technically coach your Blood Moon, right? So now you're giving it a defense boost. And then you're already getting a special defense boost, right? So now all of a sudden the Blood Moon becomes very hard to break because you're getting so bulky here. But this is another cool idea that you could run technically. Then Mouse Ape ideas with Ninetales. Of course, we've seen this already. But beat up Whimsicott here makes sense with the Annihilate Pier. Then it's Population Bomb Mousehole, but no beat up here. So instead, we're opting for Taunt instead, which is still fine. AV Instant, again, pretty good against a lot of the special attackers. Nice, solid. Now here, this is another unique variation. We got Salamence here. And actually, we saw this before from Victory Road, and we're seeing it here again. Look at this set. Tailwind, Brick Rake to destroy screens, right, from those Ninetales ideas. And then Dual Wing Beat, right, for the Sneasler stuff. And then at the same time, you still get Intimidate, which is something that Dragonite doesn't give you, right? And that's the main selling point with Salamence over something like D-Knight here. But same thing, Yawn, Ursaluna, Roarveil, Ninetales, and we're going for the end game win condition of Grassy Seed Volcarona. So this is also a pretty cool idea if you think about it. So instead of Instant, we're going for Salamence here. A little bit more aggressive than the Instant, right? But again, still pretty cool. It gives you an edge in the mirror a little bit, right? Because with Salamence, you know, if you have a problem against, like, you know, King Gambit, for example, you can just copy the damage boost and then just go from there. And then if other Pokemon, like another Dragonite, if they want to go for their scale shots too, you get to copy the speed boost too. So, you know, don't be afraid to put the Salamence in front of the D-Knight and make it guess twice if it really wants to go for the scale shot here. But otherwise, same logic. The Grassy Seed Volcarona with the balance options is still like pretty solid altogether. Yeah, but all in all, these Ninetales balance teams are looking really good, man. I think it's like, besides the Archaludon Rain teams, I think these two archetypes are the best in the format right now. Okay, so now let's see if we can go down the list and look at some of the other notable teams that we haven't covered already. So we covered a lot of the major archetypes here. So now what we're looking at is just some other idea with some other interesting nichemon that also did relatively well in day 2. We've already discussed a little bit about the Baxcalibur balance. This is, again, another one of those older builds that is still doing well even right now. It's coaching Sneasler behind, you know, Icicle Spear, the Scale Shot Baxcalibur there. So that's okay. That can still do well even right now. I've used that myself a couple times, you know, within the last week or so, and it still feels like pretty okay. As we go down the list here, this one was pretty notable, right? From Walid Soak. Look at this. We've got Serena in that. Okay, usually you'll find something like Ferrograph partnered with the Blood Moon here, but here we have Serena, which can do the same thing in terms of the ability where you get to shut down the priority moves. But at least with Serena, you can put out a little bit more offense. And Triple Axle goes a long way against something like a Dragonite, where they're kind of just forced to burn their Terra right from the get-go. But at the very least, even if they do Terra, at least you get to break multi-scale, which is kind of nice. And then you still get access to Taunt and then Power Whip for strong grass damage. So this is pretty cool to see. Then, as we go further down, we'll look at some other interesting options here. But this one right here, the P2 balance stuff, this is still okay even right now. Again, Instant Amoonguss, P2, Gholdengo, Ursaluna, that's your core 5. This last slot here is, you know, some type of flying type that can do well with the Ursaluna in terms of Earthquake synergy. I've seen Hydreigon, I've seen Kilowattrel, I've even seen Dragonite there. Even Flamigo fills in this slot here. But in the end, the Kilowattrel has had a little bit more success as of late. We've already previewed the Gashadon team over there. All right. And let me see if I can find a couple more here. I know there was at least like 2 others here. We've already spotlighted the King Draconfe stuff. Oh, this one right here. This one has the Hisuian Arcanine, right? So you got somewhat of a balance idea here, right? So you got the Gholdengo, the Grimmsnarl over the Ninetales. It's Grassy Sea Gholdengo, by the way. Sinistcha, then the Ursaluna, all right? Then the Hisuian Arcanine. So you have a double grass core here with Ribombee and Sinistcha, right? And then you have the Arcanine for the Intimidate support. But look at this. It's Flare Blitz, Rock Slide, and Will-O-Wisp. So it's offensive yet also supportive at the same time. So interesting choice there from Matthew. We've already looked at the Salamence idea. But actually, this is a different one. This one also has the Cleaver here. The Clear Ammonite Cleaver. And Sharpness here with Stone X, Close Combat, X Scissor. So interesting choice here to run the Cleaver. But everything else looks pretty standard here. I would imagine this was going to be something like a Fairy type here, maybe even a Ninetales, for example, because you've got the Quiverdance's Volcarona over here. But look at this Salamence set. It's Tailwind and Sunny Day, right? I actually didn't even know Salamence got Sunny Day there, so that was pretty cool to see. So nice job from Daniel finding a niche here for this kind of set, which is pretty useful against like the Pelipper Archaludon stuff, or even technically against other Ninetales teams too. So that was nice to see. All right, as we go a little bit more down, and another day 2 result for Galarian Weezing and Slacking, right? We've seen a few regionals now where this pairing has reached day 2 here, and I guess it's kind of working because, again, you know, Slacking does a lot of damage, and in a lower power creep with something like this where there's no legendary, Slacking looks pretty good here. And yes, you are very reliant on the Weezing technically, right, because of your ability, but you know, again, with that lower power creep and the Terra Ghost, that fighting weakness isn't going to matter a whole lot, and in fact you can make him keep guessing here. So, you know, Double Edge and Giga Impact, they're going to do a ton of damage here, especially with the Choice Band here. That's just like instant KO more or less, right? And then you still have Talonflame, Garchomp, Gholdengo stuff there. So this is actually pretty cool to see another day 2 result from the Weezing Slacking idea. What else are we going to look at here? This one has the Hisuian Zoroark here, right? With the Hyper Voice, Icy Wind, and Shadow Ball here. So again, the illusion disguise is kind of funny when you're able to disguise yourself. This is where like Dusclops first is going to come in handy, I guess, right? To kind of scout it out there. But nice to see, again, more Hisuian Zoroark get another result there. And then over here, we still get a day 2 Blaziken team over here from Sander Tiggleman. Yes, it is the coaching idea here. So a couple of targets for that. And then Maushold here with Super Fang. It's just going to do pretty good damage here. The double dragon idea with Dragonite, Tailwind, along with Archaludon Power Herb Sturdy. Looks pretty good there. And that was pretty much it. I wanted to see if there was like another 5-3 squad there. I know there was at least one that I was looking for that I also still technically wanted to spotlight here. Oh yeah, this one right here. Look at this one. We still get Venusaur 1 win away from a day 2. Look at this. Venucole 5-3, almost there. It's Life Orb Venucole, right? And we kind of saw this a little bit in VR a couple weeks ago when Marco was trying to make Venucole work, right? Where he also reached day 2. Look at this Sash coaching here with the Annihilate into Dragonite there. It's kind of funny when you think about it, but nice idea from Calvin to try and run that over here. So and again, the Smeargle stuff, again, you saw Edu run it, but this one has Wide Guard instead of Tailwind. So I guess now you might just see a little bit more Smeargle usage, you know, get explored into next weekend and then into Vegas. We'll have to see, right? Now that Edu was able to grab second place there, let's see if other people have ideas with that as well. But again, Ribombee, you got the win there. Okay, so now let's see. Will Ribombee rise in the meta? It's kind of funny that I'm saying that. I can't believe I'm saying that. But will Ribombee, in fact, rise in the meta? We'll have to wait and see. Okay, that's it for now, folks. Again, if you're trying to, prepare for Las Vegas and you still need a little bit of help, make sure you check out coaching on the channel. Tier 3 sub gets you a one-on-one team building session with me via Discord, where we get to help you plan your team for Vegas. And if you need a little bit more than just the planning with the team building, then you can sign up for Tier 4 on the channel, where now we can critique your battles. You're able to send me showdown replays. So now we can show you how to really optimize and use the squad there. Okay. If you look in the video description below, as well as in the pinned comment section, you can click either link to join the channel with the Tier 3 or 4 sub. And then from there, you can reach out on Discord, and then we can plan our session accordingly. All right. That's it for now, folks. We'll be back with another video in the next one. Peace out and have a good one.